If you're driving an automatic transmission vehicle and think everything is going smoothly, stop and think again. Because some habits you might be doing unconsciously could be seriously damaging your car's transmission. In this video, we're explaining 13 deadly mistakes you should never make with automatic transmission vehicles. This information could be a lifesaver to extend the life of your vehicle and avoid expenses worth thousands. If you want to use your vehicle consciously, this list is just for you. Watch the video until the end, because even a few seconds of change in habit can save your transmission. Gear shifting is extremely important when starting and parking your vehicle. When you sit in your seat to start your car, you should press the brake and shift the gear to P, park position. This reduces the load on the transmission and transfers it to the brakes, extending the life of the transmission. This simple step ensures that your transmission operates smoothly for a longer period. Pressing the brake before starting your vehicle is important for safety. This prevents unwanted movements of the vehicle. Shifting to P position locks the transmission and prevents the vehicle from moving. Correct gear shifting extends the life of the transmission and reduces maintenance costs. Some drivers prefer to put the gear in neutral when stopping at a red light. However, in this situation, vehicle control decreases, and you may not be able to intervene in time when you need to make an emergency maneuver. Additionally, if you forget that you've put the gear in neutral when the green light comes on, you'll cause the engine to make unnecessary revolutions, consuming more gasoline. Therefore, it is safer and more economical to keep the gear in drive mode and keep your foot on the brake pedal at traffic lights. Forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Your support keeps these stories alive. Vehicle control. Keeping the gear in drive mode allows you to maintain control of the vehicle. Fuel consumption. Putting the gear in neutral can cause unnecessary fuel consumption. Safety. It is important to keep the gear in drive mode to intervene quickly in emergencies. Shifting the gear from drive, D, to reverse, R, without completely stopping your vehicle can cause serious damage to the transmission. This mistake causes serious damage to the transmission elements and parts. When you change gears while your car is in motion, you use the transmission itself to stop the vehicle, not the brakes. Replacing worn brakes can cost an average of 1,000 TL, but damage to the transmission can be much more expensive. Transmission elements. Gear shifting mistakes damage the transmission elements and shorten the life of the transmission. Brake system. Worn brakes can cause additional expenses. Transmission damage. Damage to the transmission can lead to high repair costs. Never shift to park, P, position without completely stopping your vehicle. Newer model vehicles have speed sensors that prevent this mistake, but older model vehicles may not have such a safety device. The park position prevents your vehicle from moving, but does not stop the vehicle while it is in motion. When the car is in park position, it locks the transmission, and therefore, the wheels either do not move at all or move with great difficulty. When you shift to park position, a pin locks the transmission output shaft connected to your vehicle's wheel. However, if the vehicle is still in motion, the locking pin or output shaft can break or wear out. Speed sensors. Speed sensors in newer model vehicles prevent the mistake of shifting to park position. Transmission lock. The park position locks the transmission and prevents the vehicle from moving. Mechanical damage. Shifting to park position while in motion can cause mechanical damage to the transmission. When you spin the wheels of your car, you cause serious damage to the belts and clutch of the automatic transmission. Friction is used to move certain parts when shifting gears, and if you increase the clutch while idle and then immediately shift to drive, the belts and clutch wear out prematurely. Worse, if you continue to use your car this way, these parts will lose their friction ability. As a result, the belts and clutch may need to be replaced to prevent the transmission from slipping while operating, which can be quite expensive. Belts and clutch. Spinning the wheels causes the belts and clutch to wear out. Friction ability. Losing the friction ability of the parts reduces the efficiency of the transmission. Repair costs. Replacing the belts and clutch can lead to high expenses. 6. Coasting in neutral. Some people believe that coasting the car in neutral saves gasoline. However, automatic transmission vehicles are designed to save fuel even when the gear is in drive mode. The vehicle cuts off the fuel flow when going downhill. Additionally, allowing your car to coast reduces your control over the vehicle. When going downhill in neutral, the only thing you can do is slow down. You cannot accelerate immediately when needed, which can lead to malfunctions due to cooling friction and heat. Fuel savings. Automatic transmission vehicles save fuel even when the gear is in drive mode. Vehicle control. Coasting in neutral reduces vehicle control and endangers safety. Malfunctions. Cooling friction and heat-related malfunctions can cause additional expenses. Keeping the fuel level in the tank low can cause parts to wear out and the engine to malfunction. Vehicles need appropriate fluid pressure to operate properly. Additionally, fuel ensures the lubrication of different parts of the vehicle and the proper functioning of the engine. Continuously keeping the fuel level low in the tank wears out the parts more than normal. Therefore, you should go to a gas station and fill up your tank as soon as the fuel light comes on. Fluid pressure. Vehicles need appropriate fluid pressure to operate properly. Lubrication. Fuel ensures the lubrication of different parts of the vehicle. Part wear. Low fuel level can cause parts to wear out and the engine to malfunction. Water entering the transmission can cause serious damage by causing rust in the clutch and metal parts. When water seeps into the transmission, it is absorbed by the parts that provide friction in the clutch, causing the adhesive that holds the clutch plates together to dissolve. A small amount of water that comes out of the suspension creates white, dense masses in different parts of the transmission unit. Moreover, water causes rust in the metal parts of the transmission. The magnitude of what will happen to you depends on how quickly you notice the problem. Unfortunately, the most common solution is to overhaul the transmission, which can be quite costly. Clutch and metal parts. Water causes rust in the clutch and metal parts. Adhesive. Water causes the adhesive that holds the clutch plates together to dissolve. Rust formation. Water causes rust in the metal parts of the transmission. Repair costs. Overhauling the transmission can lead to high expenses. Coasting in neutral allows the car to move without engine power. This is usually done by putting the gear in neutral while in motion. Some drivers do this downhill, believing it saves fuel. However, coasting in neutral is not as good as it seems. It does not save fuel. Modern vehicles automatically cut off the fuel flow when you take your foot off the gas while slowing down in gear. Staying in gear due to engine braking saves more fuel than running the engine idle in neutral. Reduces control. In an emergency, you cannot have instant power to accelerate and escape danger. Coasting in neutral reduces vehicle control and limits your ability to respond quickly in emergencies. Extra wear. It is hard on the transmission to switch the engine from idle to driving mode. Also, since the engine does not help slow down, you use the brakes more, which leads to more brake wear over time. Driving through deep water may seem harmless, but it is risky. The transmission has ventilation holes, vents, to release internal pressure. However, problems start when these holes begin to let water in. Ventilation holes. In four-wheel drive vehicles, these holes are higher and water rarely enters. But in most regular passenger cars, the ventilation hole is low, directly on the transmission. Driving through deep water is inviting trouble. Transmission fluid and water mixture. When water mixes with transmission fluid, it creates a thick, milky mixture that breaks down the adhesive holding the clutch plate packs together. Damage to the clutch discs is almost inevitable and can occur within hours. Transmission failure. Draining the oil does not solve the problem. Once water gets in, the transmission starts to slip and eventually can fail completely. Therefore, avoid deep water with a normal car. Remember, oil and water do not mix, and the same goes for your transmission. Leaving the car in D drive position while waiting at traffic lights may seem harmless, but it is better to put it in neutral, especially in hot weather. Even when you are stationary, the torque converter continues to operate when the car is in D position, generating heat as the transmission fluid circulates. Overheating. On a hot day, this additional heat can build up quickly, and the temperature can increase significantly within minutes. For example, an increase of 10 to 15 degrees Celsius can be observed. This puts a strain on the transmission as it tries to cool down. Transmission fluid circulation. Putting the gear in neutral helps the fluids circulate more freely without the additional pressure from the torque converter. This prevents the transmission from wearing out and overheating over time. Transmissions require extra care in cold weather. Unlike engines, They rely on hydraulic fluid, transmission fluid, which thickens as the temperature drops. Thickened fluid does not flow easily, which slows down gear shifts and causes delayed responses. Gear shift delays. These delays strain the transmission. If your car has been parked all night, give the fluid a chance to warm up. Allow the fluid to circulate gently before you start driving. Warm-up time. Letting the car idle for a short time or driving very gently for the first few minutes ensures fluid circulation. Cold mornings are tough on cars, especially transmissions.